Hello and welcome to this week's podcast, or should we call it a video cast?
Yeah, one of those two.
I don't know. So we're experimenting with doing a video podcast, see if people like it, if people don't like it, but we thought that it kind of makes it a little bit more personable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see our genuine reactions, since a lot of our reactions have been narrated after the fact because of it being all audio. So if you like this, please let us know. If you dislike it, also please let us know. Like, we care about your opinions.
Yeah. So this week, we're gonna talk about Pacific Rim Uprising because that movie happened.
It did, yeah. So I got to see it this weekend, and you saw it this morning, right?
Yeah, I saw it this morning. I woke up and was like,
Nice.
all right, what show times we got? Oh, I gotta get there now.
Yeah. So I guess we can start. A little bit of an explanation, and then we'll kind of move into our initial thoughts. And then we'll warn everybody about spoilers before we go into any spoiler territory.
Oh yeah,
There's a lot of cool stuff.
A lot of it we can't talk about without a spoiler warning because it's too rad.
Yeah, it's very true.
So yeah, I guess opening thoughts. Cast, like the new cast, love them.
Yeah, new cast is pretty good.
Like I liked the first movie. It was good. I loved it. It was basically just Top Gun, but with mechs, which is pretty good. But that kind of also meant, like, main character was kind of unmemorable.
Yeah.
To the point I actually was straining to see, like, is he in this movie?
He was not.
I don't think he's in this. And, like, I verified afterwards, but I was like, I don't think he's in this movie. He was, like, so unmemorable. But then, like, John Boyega's character, who I was like, all right, whatever, he's going to be like a carbon copy of
Pentecost.
Yeah, Pentecost, Idris Elba's character. And then he turned out to be, like, the polar opposite and, like, his own deal.
Yeah. I thought they were pretty good. I felt like John Boyega was just being John Boyega. Like, he's Finn with a British accent, which is good.
Well, see, I liked, because, like, premise-wise, like, on paper, they're, like, the same.
Yeah.
But then what I liked about it is, like, he had more personality, whereas Finn's kind of like this, like, stilted, fish out of water. Yeah. He's, like, this, like, streetwise, kind of, like, shifty kind of dude.
Yeah, I would say, like, John Boyega is a movie star.
Yeah.
And I think I've talked about this in podcasts. To me, there's movie stars. And there's actors. Yeah. Right? Like, Gary Oldman is an actor.
Yeah.
Like, Gary Oldman, you watch a film and you almost forget. You're like, who's that guy? Like, I've never seen him before.
Yeah.
John Boyega is a movie star. You cast John Boyega to be himself. Oh, yeah. Kind of different, but it's like The Rock or Will Smith. Like, their name kind of carries it, and they have, like, a presence, and that presence is in the movie. And so, I liked it, though. Oh, yeah, no. It definitely added something. It injected something into the movie that the first one just didn't have. Yeah, so there was a lot. And it was an incredibly inspired choice to make it almost a buddy cop film where he had, like, a spunky teenage sidekick. Yeah. Which I didn't realize. I didn't think I was going to like that as much as I did. Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't know, I guess my initial thoughts, like, when I watched the movie, were I had a lot of fun with it. I enjoyed it. But, like, it grows into itself. Yeah. It has a very weak start to me. Oh, yeah. And then by the end, I'm like, okay, no, like, this is pretty good. Yeah. But what it really felt like to me was the Saturday morning cartoon spin-off of the successful original film. Yeah. It's kind of like... oh man, I'm trying to think of, like, a good example of, like Mortal Kombat comes out, right, and everyone likes it, and then there's, like, Mortal Kombat's Defender of the Realm. It's not as good. It's a lot cheesier, but it's still kind of fun to watch. Like, you can't pull your eyes away from it. Or, like, the '98 Broderick Godzilla film comes out, and then the cartoon comes out. And the cartoon actually surprises you because it's actually really good, but you just weren't expecting it.
Oh, yeah.
It's also a lot more lighthearted.
Yeah.
And I thought that the first movie had weight, and like I felt a sense of dread, and I was like, man, like these things are huge.
Oh yeah.
The kaiju are huge. Like it's kind of scary. Whereas in the second one, I didn't have any. There was never a time where I'm concerned about these characters. It was more of like this is just a lot of fun. So I think that that's kind of the differences between them.
Oh yeah, I think that tone-wise, the first movie had a much, I guess, more consistent tone.
Yeah,
but and it did, like you said, like there was a lot more concern and weight for the characters. But then on the flip side, it was also, I guess, plot-wise, I kind of knew the beats, whereas this one, until the end, I wasn't sure with a lot of things. Like, there were things that surprised me.
Yeah.
Pretty consistently.
It had a whole lot.
Yeah.
The second one had a whole lot, and I guess, we can't really touch on them.
Yeah.
Kind of had a lot of conveniences to get them to the scenes, whereas I felt like the first one had a little bit more of like a tangible, like, oh, here's the first attack, got it. Now here's the second attack. Got it. Like it's a movie. Whereas this one was kind of like action sequence. We got to do some stuff to get to this next action sequence. So it felt a little disjointed, but like at the same time had more, like there's more happening.
Yeah. I guess, because there's more. Sorry, I turned my phone on silent there. I guess there's more story, because the first one didn't so much have a story as a premise. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it was like
I'm not saying that like as its detriment. Like it was just a different type of.
It has like a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's one standalone film.
Yeah.
And the plot is concise.
Yeah.
It get and where this one it was like they're franchising.
Yeah.
So there was less of a concern about the plot, and it was more of like, let's just get to the next one. Like let's start setting up all the stepping stones to get to another sequel. Whereas the first one was like, this is not getting a sequel, so this has to be a one and done film.
I think if they knew they could, I think the first one probably would have been a lot more different if they were guaranteed a sequel.
Yeah.
But no, I think the best analogy would actually be Jurassic Park to Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Because it's like Jurassic Park is like this legit kind of almost scary movie at times. Uh-huh. But then like Jurassic World is just like, man, that was awesome. Sign me up for the next one.
Yeah, like just show me more. Like let's do a lot of the.
Like you're never going to capture that lightning in a bottle again. So just go ham on it.
And that's a really good example. It's like you're not going to get that first movie ever again. Like you could try, it's not happening.
No.
But with what they did to me it was more of a popcorn film than the first movie. And definitely like it's like a really fun roller coaster.
Yeah.
And so I guess we can go a little bit. We'll kind of set up the movie before we actually start talking about the plot.
Yeah.
So it takes place 10 years after the first film.
Right.
And Earth isn't dumb.
No.
So they've continued building Jaegers and they've continued like upgrading them.
Yeah, and like working on new tech.
Yeah. And they kind of throw in, and I thought that was a really weak point, was they throw in like, oh, there's Jaegers that are like rogue, like people get a hold of them. To which I'm thinking, wait, what? How do people get a hold of these things?
I don't think it was intended. Yeah, because that one took me for a loop too. And then I think that it gives the wrong point because we see the girl with her mini Jaeger.
Yeah.
I think when they say rogue, they mean more like in the way that like a small country might get their hands on nukes kind of thing. Yeah. And less like an individual.
They like bring it up and then they almost drop it immediately. And I was like, oh, okay, I thought that might have been a plot point. But then they're like, no, don't worry about that.
Yeah, I think it was just to establish the market for parts.
Yeah,
and
so like people are salvaging parts from all the old ones and selling them on black markets.
Right.
Kind of like what was happening with kaiju parts.
Yeah.
In the first movie, they're doing with Jaeger parts in this one.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like where is the world 10 years after the world has been saved?
Yeah.
And nothing has happened.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's like most of the world is kind of back, but like the coastal areas that had been getting hammered are kind of just a wreck. And they're like these almost demilitarized zones in a way.
Yeah. They're like slums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like you got John Boyega's character, Jake, who's just like basically squatting in half of a mansion that was crushed by a Jaeger. Because he's like, squatting in half of a mansion is better than scraping by in a crappy apartment. Yeah. And so, and like it shows like kind of like what life is there. And he's like, commodities like just food and stuff like that is like way more than
he's like selling off like BMWs he's fixed for food and stuff. And so it kind of gives you, it's cool because it gives you like a kind of feel for, like this guy is resourceful. Yeah. But he's also not dumb. Like he's smart. Like he's getting food. Everyone else is blowing the food to get possessions. And so
he's like, that means nothing.
Yeah. He's good.
And then you got...
it's kind of like, what do you do when your father is a hero who saved the world, who literally saved the entire world? Yeah. And you can't live up to it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so he just parties hard and does his own thing and illegally steals parts and sells them for sriracha sauce. Yes. Yeah.
And then, and I did like... the world, I guess, like the little bit of world building that you get there. Yeah. Because you didn't see as much. The closest you got to that was like the wall they were building in the first movie. That was possibly the literal, actual dumbest thing I'd ever heard. Because, like, I'm pretty sure one of their Jaegers could have broken down that wall. Yeah. And it's like those monsters tossed around your Jaegers. Yeah. Why would you think that wall would do anything?
You don't really get... Yeah, the first movie does kind of suffer from...
But again, like, it was supposed to be self-contained.
Yeah, so you kind of see, like, this slummy area where they're building the giant wall. And then, of course, you see China. And you kind of see, like, this Neo-China, And it seems like everything's fine there. Yeah. And then you kind of see glimpses of these, like, areas that are the ground zero for, what had happened with the skulls.
Yeah, that's right.
And the bones and stuff of the kaiju. But you don't get a whole feel of like, well, what's the rest of the world do? Right. And apparently they don't do much.
No, not really. Because I guess if you're not the ones getting attacked by Jaegers, then... like if you're in like mainland or whatever.
Yeah, and there's like a little subtle deal kind of towards the beginning where you see a Gypsy Danger like action figure. Yeah. Like in a scrap heap. So it's kind of like, the rest of the world does see these, like they're cool.
Yeah, because it was like awesome. There was like a passing line that like Jaeger pilots were rock stars.
In the first movie.
Yeah, in the first movie.
So in the second one, you get a better feel for it.
It's starting them young.
Yeah. So I guess now we'll have to start getting into some spoiler territory. So if you don't want spoilers, you gotta stop watching. I'm sorry. That's the end of the podcast for you. But if you don't care about spoilers, or if you've seen the movie and you want to hear us ramble about it, we will continue.
Yeah, because man, I enjoyed Sonic the Jaeger. Yeah. Man, that little bot was rolling around at the speed of sound. Yeah. He had places to go. You gotta follow his rainbow.
What was it called? I forgot.
Scrapper.
Scrapper, yeah.
Yeah.
So the main female lead.
Yeah.
She's built a tiny Jaeger that's probably the size of like
a car, like a big car, like a Bumblebee.
Yeah, like
Bumblebee size. Yeah.
So she's like in it, but there's not much more outside of that. Like 2 people could fit in it, but it's like a 1-person job.
Yeah, and it was like a little squat, like, and I saw it, I'm like, man, that kind of almost looks like a ball, and then sure enough, she's like, tuck in.
No, there's a scene at the very end of the movie, so super spoiler alert. Yeah. Where it's literally like ramping off walls. Yeah. And I was sitting there going, like, in the back of my head, hearing the sound, like the sonic spin thing. Like, because it's like flying, like going through stuff, and you're like, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely dug that quite a bit. And I like the dynamic between those characters. Honestly, I felt like the weakest part of it was that they tried to give him like another co-pilot first. It made sense plot-wise, but then it kind of, that was the only thing that I think in retrospect, it didn't bug, like not at the time, but looking back, it stilted the film a bit because it split the development between those 2 characters.
Yeah, so you're talking about Scott Eastwood's character. Yeah.
Which he was good. I liked him.
He was good.
But it just didn't bring as much, I guess.
Yeah, so basically what happens is John Boyega's stealing parts. Yeah. He swindles some guys, and as he's swindling them, he gets swindled by the female lead. I forget her name.
Gosh, shoot.
There's a lot of names. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of names in that movie.
Yeah, there are.
And most are overshadowed by how cool the Jaeger names sound, so you kind of forget.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, she swindles John Boyega. Then they get arrested by a giant police Jaeger, which I thought that was really cool. Yeah. That there's, like, Jaegers that patrol, like, cities. Yeah. And they're named. Like, their pilots, like, the pilots are known. Yeah. And the mech itself is known, and it, like, polices.
Yeah, because he was like, oh, yeah, like, you're going to want to do this for this, Jaeger. And all that. Yeah.
So that was kind of neat, but they fail in their escape attempt in her little scrapper, get arrested. And, so, John Boyega he either goes to jail or he joins back up with the what is it, Jaeger?
Yeah, Corps. The Jaeger Corps.
In which the pilots are called Rangers, which that's a new thing. Yeah. Yeah, in the original movie, they're just Jaeger pilots. Yeah, they're just the pilots. Yeah. But I guess, because they have been developing and opening it up, you learn that, like, there's like pilots, which are called Rangers, and then they have their recruits. And, they're training up new generations. And it's like a military, like you've got the younger
Amara.
Amara. Yeah. Okay.
Kaylee Spinney. Yeah.
Which she was pretty good.
She was really good for like usually like the younger an actor gets like they start to get a little. But I honestly felt like she was really good for her age, like just as an actor in general.
I would say she didn't have much to work with because her character is literally every like young female kind of tough renegade.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly the character was breaking any molds.
No. She fits a very distinct. Like you see her and you're almost like, ugh, this is a very annoying type of character in films. But she does a really good job with it.
Yeah, and turns out to not be annoying. Yeah, that was a surprise.
So it was good. And then of course, when Jake is given the ultimatum of joining or going to jail, it's by Mako.
Yeah, so, that was cool. Which that was the other. Yes, that'd be another spoiler. That was kind of sad that Mako doesn't make it. But I think that was one of those. Like, we're franchising. I want one more, and that's it.
Yeah, well, they're franchising, and is it Charlie Hunnam?
Charlie Day?
No, not Charlie Day. The actor that played Raleigh in the first film.
Oh, yeah.
I think his name's Charlie Hunnam.
I think so.
I don't know how you pronounce it. But he said no. Like, he was like, I'm out. Like, I'm not working on these films. Wow. It kind of seemed like he was like, oh, I'm a big time actor now. But then he went and did King Arthur. So, well, I like him.
I'm sure he's great, but it's like, it's like doing a Robin Hood movie. Like, other than, what was it, Kevin Costner? Yeah. We had one good Robin Hood movie that wasn't Men in Tights. Yeah. And have we ever had a good King Arthur movie?
That's debatable.
Yeah, that's my point. It's like, That's like I'm going to be a real actor. I'm going to do King Arthur because I'm going to be the one who does it right.
It's very, yeah. So he didn't do it. So like when the main character from the first movie's out, his co-pilot is also kind of like in a weird position.
Well, I figured she was just going to be in an administrative role.
Mm-hmm. But she is.
But then they start to ask the questions like, well, when is she going to suit up like Idris Elba did? And so it's like, all right, that's fine.
So that stings. But it's kind of neat to see him. And it's kind of cool that like first movie doesn't mention that she has a younger brother. That Pentecost has a biological son.
Yeah.
But it also didn't have time. It's like you didn't ask.
Boom, boom,
yeah.
boom. Yeah.
And this movie, like, hats off to the actors who only have maybe 10 minutes together on screen to like actually drive home that they were like siblings.
And their chemistry was so good that it really sold it. And it also helped with because like you could argue that like the tragedy of losing his father would have been a big deal, but it seemed like they were estranged, whereas his relationship with Mako was a lot better.
Yeah.
So like the tragedy of losing her and being powerless helped with him drifting with Amara.
Yeah.
Because then like you have that moment of like their shared pain.
Yeah.
And like it's
because
like
she was helpless and her family died in front of her. So yeah.
Yeah. And so then it actually ended up helping in that, which that was the only thing is it's like, okay, you're going to give him the other pilot first, and it's like, but we know that he's going to end up with her as a pilot at some point. So how does that happen?
Yeah. We are skipping a whole lot to get to different parts.
Oh,
basically like John Boyega gets back in. Scott Eastwood's character is like his old co-pilot.
Yeah.
And they're drift compatible. And John Boyega, of course, doesn't want to be there because what character in a pilot movie ever wants to actually be there?
Never.
And so he's basically told, hey, Scott Eastwood's like, hey man, like I don't want to work with you, you don't want to work with me, so let's work together to get through this.
Yeah.
Get these, cadets trained up.
Yeah.
Whatever. And on the opposite side of the world, there's a Chinese company that's building drones.
Yeah.
And the drones are there because they want faster, more reliable, Jaegers that don't sacrifice human lives to pilot.
Yeah, they don't require two people in there that are hard to replace that you can't. Yeah. And
so at the demonstration, they bring Gypsy Danger, the new
Gypsy Avenger.
Yeah, they bring that in to be like hey, look, this is our cool old school, our old guard, seen in the new guard.
Yeah.
And they get attacked by probably the coolest sounding bad guy ever.
Yeah.
It's Obsidian.
Oh, Obsidian, I gotta check because he did have like
Fury.
Yeah, or Obsidian Blade or something like that.
Which is basically just like a negative Gypsy Danger. That was the only negative I had. It looks exactly like Gypsy Danger but black.
Yeah, Obsidian Fury. That's what it was. Yeah, it was
which is
rad.
A really rad name
because it had two swords.
Yeah, it did. It had two swords.
Because it's Pacific Rim 2.
Yeah, and the swords were like flaming.
Oh yeah, chainsaw,
like chainsaw flaming chainsaw blades. So it attacks, and in the attack, Mako's in a helicopter, and the helicopter goes down.
Yeah.
As she's trying to send, like, important vital information.
Yeah.
So you get your first, like, mech-on-mech fight.
Yeah, which was rad.
Yeah, if we're going to review stuff, like, we're going into the plot, but really this movie is about the fights.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more, and there's a lot of creativity in how they fight.
And I think that was the strongest on this is the novelty of we hadn't seen it before in the first one is what sold those fights, but they were pretty bare bones.
They were.
I enjoyed it. They got pretty creative. They're like, all right, what can we do with giant robots because we can't do the same thing again? Yeah,
I guess that's like a negative and a positive. The first movie, the Jaegers and the Kaiju felt humongous. And they're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. They actually, they're using a freighter ship as a sword. Like, these things are so big, it's like impossible to fathom how big they are. And a lot of people I know who didn't like the first Pacific Rim were like, oh, those fights were boring.
Yeah.
It was really slow. And it's like, if the thing is twice the size of a building, it's not moving fast, like, at all. And so I love that.
Yeah.
The negative to this one is they move like Transformers. They're fast as heck in this one. But at the same time, because it is kind of more of like a cartoony vibe, and it does feel like an anime, like it feels almost like a shonen anime. Yeah. It's like excusable.
Yeah, and they still managed to avoid like they had more weight and heft to them than say like the Bay Transformers.
Yeah,
Transformers. Where they just kind of flipped around and shit.
Yeah, like Transformers are, they're huge robots, but they move exactly as fast as like a human being would move.
Yeah, like
I kind of slow. It's like they kind of make big movements, but
it's like they put it in slow motion. Yeah, but they're still moving super fast and twisting.
Lots of flips. Yeah, and there is a Jaeger in this movie that does do a lot.
The anime Jaeger, the katana one,
but
Saber or something.
Saber Athena.
Athena,
another amazing name.
That one was really good.
But it's like right off the bat, they're like, that's the tiny one. That one's skinny. That one flips. That's what it does.
Then you have the one that was like Ironhide and has like a wrecking ball and was like...
Yeah, like a chainsaw wrecking ball. Because chainsaws are on everything in this movie.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised I didn't have a gun that shot chainsaws. I'm disappointed.
I mean, the chainsaw shot off the arm.
Oh, that is true,
It was like a mace chainsaw.
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, it was like a wrecking ball. But it would like
and then like he broke... In the first... Or in round 2 with Obsidian Fury, he does break the sword off inside of him, pull the sword out, and then stab him with it. So that was pretty rad.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good fights.
Oh yeah,
and they do. Yeah, like I said, there's some just cool choreography to destroying cities.
Yeah, and I think that it was good the way it was handled, where it's like, the first time they see that, it wrecks their day, but not too definitively. Yeah. And then it like bails because it sees the other Jaegers showing up. And it's like, okay, that's reasonable.
Yeah, so Obsidian Fury like attacks at this like unveiling of the drones, and you don't know why. And it takes out it knocks Gypsy Danger around.
It gets like a solid hit. And it's more out of the excuse me. It's more out of the equation because, like, Mako, her helicopter goes down.
Yeah.
And so Jake bails.
And they're trying to save,
And so that's more of the...
And so when it sees that the other Jaegers are, like, deploying, then it runs away. Then, long story short, they find out that Mako was trying to send a message.
Yeah,
which is like a facility, like a decommissioned facility. So of course it's like, oh well, that's convenient. It gets us to our second fight with Obsidian Fury.
Yeah, let's grant me permission to take our Jaeger there. Shouldn't we send a small scout force? Nope, send my giant Jaeger.
Yeah, so
I mean it worked out, but it was a dumb move.
Yeah. And and then Gypsy Avenger does some that's really cool.
That was
there's some really good fight scenes between the two robots, and the whole time I'm watching it, I'm thinking, just give me a Gundam movie, please. Like, please. I need a Gundam movie because the first half of this movie is just robots on robots, which we haven't seen, and
I did like that aspect of it.
Yeah. So that was neat. Yeah. And long story short, after they defeat Obsidian Fury, they find out that like it has kaiju material in it.
Yeah, it's fused. They rip out the cockpit and there's just a kaiju brain in there. Yeah. And they're like, what?
Yeah. So that's like the mystery. That it takes a while to get to the mystery of what's happening.
Yeah, which I do. That's actually one thing I did like, is it wasn't, it didn't spill too much at once. No. And, because, like, you get, Charlie Day's character, Newt, and you see that he's working on this drone thing.
Yeah.
And, like, there's a little bit
back and mention that, but...
Yeah. Back and forth with him, and then the guy from Torchwood, whose name I don't remember.
The other silly guy.
Yeah, the British one. And, they kind of have a little bit of exchange about the whole drifting with the kaiju thing in the first movie. And then he's like, look, I got to work on the drones. And his boss is really painted in a sinister light about the drones.
Shao? Is it Shao?
Yeah.
Shao? Yeah.
Yeah, I
believe
so.
The creator of the drones is almost like set up as a villain. Like, to the nth degree. It's let's just show every bad side of her just so that everyone's like, ooh, she's the bad guy.
Because she's clearly, like, just a jerk.
Yeah.
Like, because she comes off as, like, the most, like, arrogant and everything.
And, so Charlie Day, he decided to leave, I guess, the Jaeger... The good guy team to go with these...
the EDF.
To go with this, like, drone...
Basically private sector
team. Yeah. And so there's, like, a little bit of tension between, him and his buddy.
And, that was kind of... that's when they find that... They find the Jaeger had, the kaiju parts in it. That's when it gets pushed through, like, oh, we need... full force, like, get those drones out there.
Yeah.
And...
Well, I forgot her name again. I'm so bad.
Amari?
Yeah,
Amari goes inside.
She goes and sneaks inside and finds out that the wiring is wired the same way that Shao Industries wires there. So then you're like, oh no, Shao is super evil now because now she has a kaiju brain piloting a giant Jaeger.
Yeah.
And Amari's having issues. Gosh, we probably don't have time to talk about the whole movie. But she's having issues, like, being with the cadets.
Yeah, because she got in basically just because off the street. Because she built and piloted her own. And they're like, I had to work to get here. And it's like...
Yeah, so...
I mean, which makes sense that conflict would happen. Yeah. But then it's like, but she built a Jaeger and piloted it.
A lot of preteen issues with the recruits.
Yeah.
Where there's like, oh, here's the nice guy, here's the mean chick. How is she going to fit in? So it's very, I mean, like, as predictable cut and paste as you can get with that. But some of the recruits are cool.
Yeah, some of them are all right.
Like one or two kind of shine out, and you're like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. But like most of the time, you're like, that guy's the puppy. He's toast.
Yeah.
She'll come... But the one who's bullying Amari the most, you're like, of course, her and Amari are going to team up and be fine at the end.
Yeah.
And then the second one guy's like, man, if I die, I want Jaegers at my funeral.
And it's like, oh, no.
Adios, kid. Oh, you signed your death warrant.
Yeah. Though... Yeah, like, they were all right. Amari was really the only one, of course, who gets any screen time to shine. That's to be expected. But yeah, the drones, though, were awesome. Because, like, when they bust out with they turn into, like, kaiju drones.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's one thing. After they find out that the main big Obsidian Fury had a brain in it, Shao. What is? Oh man, I just saw this movie yesterday. I'm so terrible. But Shao is basically sending. She starts sending out the drones to start taking over. Not like taking over stuff.
Li Wenshao.
Yeah.
Tianjin. That's the actress.
But like, why they're coming, I forgot. It's like she's basically like, okay,
because they were decommissioning the like Jaeger program.
Yeah, so they're decommissioning the Jaegers. They're sending in the drones, and then for some reason, all the drones have kaiju like brains in them.
Yeah, and they
get mutated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they get turned into like these hybrid robot kaiju, and they look really cool.
Yeah, they straight up look like Evangelion, but also like the elites from Halo.
Or the hunters.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have like the big dorsal spines, and they're like kind of gorilla-y. So they look,
Yeah, so they look like a mix between those and like straight up Evangelions.
Yeah.
Which was super rad.
It was really cool. And they start attacking everything, and the ones that aren't attacking the Jaeger facilities start opening a rift.
Like a lot of them.
A lot of them, yeah. There's like a ton of rifts getting open. And then you find out that Charlie Day's the villain.
Yeah, which I did not see that. And there was even a pretty heavy tell in the movie.
Yeah, because he's
shown drifting with.
He talks about a girlfriend, Alice. To a bunch of characters, and then later it shows him in his apartment, and Alice is a kaiju brain, and he's drifting with it.
Yeah,
and you're like, that's a weird scene. That's a really
creepy, unsettling scene.
It's a really unsettling, and it's like, but where did that come from?
Yeah, but because Charlie Day is such like a goofy, silly character, you just like take it at face value, and you're like, oh, yeah, that man, it's always sunny in Philadelphia. Am I right? And then it's like, oh no, he was literally being a supervillain. He handed everybody a business card saying, I'm a supervillain. And then we just went, that scamp.
So he's the villain, and he's actually programmed all of the... Somehow nobody noticed him sneaking in all these programs. Yeah. He does say that, 38% of your company is...
I thought it was, even higher than that.
No, it's a relatively small amount. Then when he said it, I was like, they'd still notice something fishy if you're putting brains in all these.
It was a little. Drones. I don't know. Maybe I misheard. I thought he said only 38% isn't automated or something, or I don't know. Either way, it's still you think they would notice.
You'd think, but so he Shao then suddenly stops being a jerk and starts being a character. Yeah. Right.
Because she had the you either die or become friends with Goku moment. Yeah. And
so then she it's a super dramatic scene, and people are dying, and these hybrid kaiju Jaegers are destroying everything, and then she's able to shut them off and shut them down. But bad news. Three
class
huge.
Or whatever.
It's Class 4. It's 2 Class 4s and a Class 5 kaiju. Yeah. So, the biggest of the big from the first movie kaijus get out of the rifts. Yeah. And start marching to the only place in the world that attracts giant monsters, Japan.
Yep. Mount Fuji.
To Mount Fuji. Yeah.
The most Japan thing you can do is a kaiju.
Exactly. I was not this is where I really I'm glad that we're at this point, and it's been a long road coming. But I really want to talk about this. So when it shows there's a map, right? And they're show us the movements of the kaiju, and the map's kind of flat, but there's a very distinct little spit of land, and I was like, oh no, that's Japan. And then it zooms out, and sure as heck, it's oh my gosh, the kaiju have been trying to get to Japan since the first movie.
Just kept getting stopped by the robots.
Yeah, to get inside Mount Fuji and blow the world up. So, any sort of, seriousness just derails, and you're good.
I'm glad we're on the same page now.
I'm really glad that happened, because the second they're they're marching on Tokyo, you have to sit back and smile and just go, yup.
By golly, they sure are, aren't they?
China got wrecked in the first movie, and you kind of have to think maybe they did that to give Japan a rest. Yeah. No.
Nope.
No. In fact, I think this is the most wrecked Japan has ever been in a kaiju movie.
Yeah, oh my god.
You might argue that Shin Godzilla laid waste to Tokyo pretty hardcore, but I don't know. This was destruction on a level. Michael Bay's never blown a city up this bad. No. Superman's never leveled a city this bad.
They lay siege. I'm talking fire and brimstone. Yeah. I am the Lord.
It's really bad, but it's awesome because I'm sorry, but if you're going to destroy a city, Tokyo is probably everyone loves it. I think even Japan loves it.
I mean, and there was. I'm assuming you caught the Gundam.
Yeah, there is a Gundam in this movie.
That was straight up a Gundam.
It's a Gundam statue. But it is a gun, and it's not the unicorn one.
No, it was, I think it was RX-78.
No, it's one of the later ones.
Was it? Yeah. It was all one color, it wasn't detailed, so I couldn't...
It's a stone statue.
Yeah, so I couldn't quite catch what it, was.
So they're not no Daiba, no. They're, actually, this time, it's kind of funny, because usually when a monster attacks Tokyo, it's actually attacking Shinjuku, or Shibuya. Yeah. Asakusa. Yeah. But this is the first time that, like, Tokyo City, Tokyo.
Yeah.
Gets destroyed.
Tokyo.
Yeah. And
they went straight for it.
Like, yeah, so of course the kaiju are trying to... So the whole thing is the kaiju are trying to get to Mount Fuji, not to blow up the world, but to cause an eruption that would cause a chain in the Pacific Rim to unleash a fiery storm that would terraform the world to what the alien
basically wipe out indigenous life.
Yeah, so it's going to terraform the planet for the those weird, like, independent aliens.
Yeah, the, like, precursors, that's it. The precursors legacy from Jack and Daxter.
Yeah. So the precursors, you find out that they're the ones that actually have, like, gotten into Charlie Day's brain.
Yeah, because he's having, like, these, like, switches.
Yeah, like, he knows.
He's like, I can't stop them. Like, I'm not strong enough and all that.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was going. That's the only, and to be fair, it could just be there for the next movie. That was literally the only plot thread that didn't go anywhere.
That's true.
Because it's like they set up early on that they're drift compatible. Him and Amari, like Jake and Amari.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then they drop off Scrapper, so you're like, oh, Scrapper's gonna get some play.
Yeah.
And, like, all of those threads, I kept thinking were gonna be dropped. Because it's like, I figured she was going to get in Scrapper during the drone thing, but she didn't. And then it's like, oh, well, she's going to be, co-piloting with Jake, and then she didn't.
Yeah, okay, so, I guess we haven't gotten to that yet, but there's only a few, like, Jaegers left.
Yeah.
And Shao flies in and is like, hey, let me help build these 4. There's only, like, 4 that they can deploy.
Yeah, there's 4 frames that are... Yeah.
So there's Gypsy Avenger, there's...
Saber Athena.
Saber Athena, yeah. And then, not nearly as cool, but has a really cool weapon later in the movie, Red kind of looking robot.
Yeah.
And then, like, Wrecking Ball robot.
Yeah.
I forget their names.
Yeah.
They're also really super cool, but it's not... Gypsy Avenger.
Yeah, they're not quite that cool.
Or Obsidian Fury, which is still the coolest, like, robot.
Yeah, that's pretty rad. I mean...
Yeah, so, of course,
I'm checking
all the pilots die in this attack, and the only people who are left, conveniently, is the exact number of recruits.
Okay, so there was Titan Redeemer, Guardian Bravo...
That's it.
November Ajax.
November Ajax is the one at the beginning.
Yeah, that's right.
Titan Redeemer's the big, like, wrecking ball.
Yeah, Ajax was the cop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the unknown classifications are Obsidian Fury and Valor Omega? Which one was Valor Omega?
It might have been the drones.
That might have been.
I'm not sure. And then Bravo, or whatever that one's is. That one's, like, kind of cool, and has a super cool weapon later on in the movie, but, like, when you first see it, you're like, eh.
Yeah, it's like, I can take it or leave it, like, whatever. It's like, it looks more generic than...
It kind of looks like a mech warrior.
Yeah.
With a head.
Yeah. It's like, whatever. But, like, like...
Yeah, and then, of course, conveniently, right?
Yeah.
Titan Redeemer needs 3 pilots. Right?
Yeah.
And when you're looking at it, you're like, boy, there's an odd number of the exact number of people that they need, right? So, like...
Which, I like that. Because as, like... Alright, they had the one in the first movie that had, like, the 3 arms and 3 of them. But that didn't kind of make sense.
It was like one of the brothers piloted an arm.
Yeah, but it didn't really make a ton of sense the way, like, logistically. Because... Anyways...
But Redeemer makes sense.
Yeah, because there's literally just somebody who does a weapons platform.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so of course, like, the recruits, they're like, oh no, we can't do it. And John Boyega gets to give his cool Pentecost speech.
Yeah.
Which is pretty neat.
Yeah.
And they fly themselves to Tokyo using really cool new jetpacks.
Yeah, that's right. They got jetpacks.
Yeah, so they got jetpacks. And then the rest of the movie is basically just... like 40 minutes of robot smashing kaiju action.
Yeah, and then the kaiju, like, do the fusion dance.
Yeah,
turn into, like, mega kaiju.
Yeah, there's that. So like, well, it's kind of neat because like all the Jaegers are fighting the kaiju and getting just ruffle stomped.
Yeah, I did like that none of them were clearly as good as the ones in the original.
Yeah.
Because they weren't experienced.
Yeah.
So it's like they were struggling.
Yeah, everybody's struggling. And then, of course, Jake and Scott Eastwood, I forget his character's name, but I know his actor's name. They're piloting Gypsy Avenger. And Gypsy Avenger's handling itself, but it's still getting kind of smacked around.
Oh, yeah.
And then that... Ooh, oh, man, there's a lot of cool stuff. Because this is when, like, all the cool weapons, like, all the new upgrades and stuff come out. And it is probably, like, one of the coolest, like, giant robot fights in a very long time.
Oh, yeah. Like,
not that we've had a lot in American films, but I've watched a lot of anime.
That is true. This was, like, the closest to, like, a live-action anime.
Oh, no, it was.
Like straight up.
The first movie to me, I thought was, I'm like, oh, I'm watching a live-action anime. But it's kind of like on its own. This one was straight up like Shonen Jump published.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim 2.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so you've got like laser whips.
Oh, that's right. That was which apparently was physical because then the kaiju grabs it and throws him. But Don't let go of that whipper.
There's not a lot that we can talk about in terms of like they destroyed Tokyo, and they have awesome fights, and there's parts where they're actually bringing buildings down on the kaijus.
We cannot. It'd be impossible to adequately describe how wrecked Tokyo gets. Like underground, above ground. Yeah. Like it's all going nuts.
Yeah. And it's kind of crazy because like the kaiju are still moving towards Fuji throughout this whole fight. And so like they're like kind of like mainland in Japan, like destroying stuff. And they're just bringing the entire city down as they march towards Fuji. And you do get some really good scenes of like Japanese schoolgirls running and screaming from a giant monster that's just crashing through a building, and so you get some really cool classic like Japanese or Godzilla-esque imagery. And then so like the kaiju are winning the fight, and you're thinking, man, like how are they going to win? And then the kaiju fuse into like a mega kaiju, and you go, oh, okay.
Yeah, because apparently Charlie Day had just all the agency with her company because like her automated factories he had programmed to make these like drones.
There's like these nanobots which are still like probably the size of a car.
Yeah.
Even though like they're nanobots for a robot.
Yeah.
And they like fuse. They like eat and fuse the three kaiju together into one huge mega kaiju.
Yeah.
And who then easily wipes out the rest of everything but Gypsy Avenger.
Yeah, like they don't
stand a chance.
Yeah, which I thought was good because I was like, how are they even?
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, like he just like swipes and there's like Jaeger parts like flying throughout the air. So that was the first time I actually felt like a sense of dread where you're like, whoa.
Yeah, because like one of the dudes just gets straight up killed.
Yeah, one of the pilots dies.
Because they just get like Laser Whip gets just annihilated.
Yeah,
and then
because the kaiju catches his laser whip and then like flails him through a bunch of buildings.
Yeah,
and one of the pilots survives. One of the pilots dies like graphically.
Yeah, holy crap! And I thought that like Russian girl was gonna eat it.
Yeah, because like the Russian girl pilot who's like a mini Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Now that you mention
it's kind of creepy. Yeah.
Yeah.
She, because she's in Titan Redeemer.
Yeah, Titan Redeemer. She's in the torso.
Pilot. Yeah, so that the torso has like these giant guns that like spin around its torso.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's really cool. Like, and the kaiju like catches it in its mouth, and you're like, well, she's toast because she's in its stomach. But I guess off screen we didn't see her.
Well, like it's a split second.
Yeah,
you see it pop out the back.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and then of course, you know, the Jake's co-pilot gets hurt but not killed. He didn't.
Yeah, because that's super crazy. Like the one of the kaiju has like multiple tails.
Yeah.
On 2 tails.
Yeah.
It's like his one tail becomes 2 tails that become like flails.
It's like a cat of 9 tails.
Yeah, like 2 cat of 9 tails on one stem.
Yeah, and it just like whap.
Yeah, and then just the like spike goes through Gypsy Avenger's face, and it like goes between Jake and his co-pilot. Yeah, and it's a really like awesome sequence. So his co-pilot's injured and can't continue. What are we going to do?
The most anime thing imaginable.
Yes.
Literally weld the jetpack to its fist.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a little bit later.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so...
because she jumps in there.
To clarify,
Amari jumps inside Gypsy Avenger. Yeah. And ejects the other pilot.
Yeah. And like, so now it's, the buddy cop film.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so because, swapping pilots... making sure everybody who is alive takes some time. The mega kaiju has like gotten to Fuji.
Yeah, he's like about to walking up there.
Yeah, he's walking like on top of the slopes. Yeah, and so you're thinking, what? How's Gypsy Danger going to make it? And that is when Scrapper, in classic Sonic the Hedgehog form, comes and piloted by Shao, so that
because she like rigs it as a drone.
Yeah, so she rigs it as a drone. So then you actually get to see Scrapper do some cool stuff.
Yeah.
And he brings a rocket to Gypsy Danger, fuses it to Gypsy Danger's fist, and shoots them into orbit.
Yeah, and that's just like the really most cool, like seismic toss, like Charizard flying around the world, slamming into the ground move ever.
Oh yeah, no, it's pretty great because you find out like Jake decides, well, we're just going to turn Gypsy into a giant missile. So send us out into space so we can come back through the atmosphere and become a massive missile.
Oh my god!
Because Japan has not gotten destroyed enough.
Yeah, no, we're gonna
like drop a megaton bomb on top of Fuji, which is cool.
Which could have gone really bad.
Yeah.
Like there could have been 10 times worse.
Yeah, but it makes a really awesome explosion and they win.
Yeah, because like you see. Because they escape on Scrapper.
Yeah.
They escape in Scrapper and jump off, and he Sanix down the hill, which was pretty rad. And then, like, you see the monster, and it looks like it's about to get up, and then it pans out, and you just see splatter.
Yeah.
And it's just gone, and then it just kind of, like, flops over, like, its head.
Yeah, so they win. So the only way to win was to basically destroy the last Jaeger that was around, by making it a giant steel rod from outer space.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, basically just... Yeah, I mean, it was getting propelled too, but yeah, basically.
But super awesome.
Yeah, kinetic force bomb or whatever.
Yeah, and...
then it ends with a snowball fight.
Yeah, ends with a snowball fight. So, like, happily ever after type deal. What really excited me, though, is I was sitting there going, well, if this gets a sequel...
Yeah.
The coolest thing to me was the fact that like Scrapper was like repairing Gypsy Avenger. Well, not repairing, but like
using him,
giving him equipment and doing like battlefield modifications. Yeah. And I thought, man, if there's a sequel, it's going to be really awesome to see a bunch of like the drones and like the mini bots that are like helping, like they're like the ammo bearers and they're bringing the weapons and they're fixing the the way I imagine it is watching like a Jaeger get like punched and its arm like rips and then like a bunch of the little guys jump up and like get back up and then he keeps fighting.
Like they do like full on like mascot like Scrapper bot, I
was describing it to my buddies I watched it with, like, think about like the Tachikomas from Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
Like, they have like those cutesy little voices, right? But they're like little R2 units.
Yeah.
They're like climbing up on the Jaegers and like fixing them so I'm like, okay, please let that be a plot.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
I think that Scrapper's probably pretty popular. So,
especially for the Japanese audience.
Yeah, so I can't imagine that doesn't happen. And just the...
You have to think about it like this. Big Hero 6 in Japan is called Baymax. Baymax is not the main character, but guess what? In Japan, he is.
Yeah.
So, Pacific Rim 2, Scrapper, is probably...
Yeah, and just the ending of... what was it like? We'll be, it's like, well, we're coming back, blah blah blah, and he's
it's like a post credits, it's like a post.
It's what would be the post credits.
Yeah, what is Charlie Day is captured, and he's like, oh, you think that you're safe? We're going to come again. We're going to come, and then Jake, all cool, comes and he goes, that's okay. We don't have to be ready because we're coming for you. And you're like, yeah, space battles.
Yeah, just sign me up for that.
Yeah, I'm really hoping this movie does well. The first movie tanked. It was a box office, disaster here. Even in Japan, it didn't do so well, but it was going up against Lupin the Third and Detective Conan.
Yeah, I don't think they planned the release date around Japan's...
so Japan had one of the biggest crossover animated movies of all time happening when Pacific Rim
pretty much the only one that saved it was the Chinese market.
Yeah, China saved everything about Pacific Rim. And this one was a partnership with a Chinese company.
Yeah, which is why China was basically...
It's why Japan got destroyed and China was the hero.
Half the hero, because they were also the villain technically. I'm surprised that but they were being taken advantage of. They were the unwilling villain.
Yeah,
but then the Chinese girl who's all mean at the beginning becomes super cool and pilot Scrapper.
Yeah. So no, I think it was a good joint, operation.
Yeah. I wish we had gotten a little bit more Jaeger versus the drones, because those look really cool.
Yeah,
the Evangelion drones were rad.
They did look like Avas. Fat Avas.
Yeah, well, because they look like Halo Avas. Instead of the slender I guess they looked less creepy Avas.
Yeah,
because the Avas look so creepy because they're all spindly and they got the
Avas are the coolest creepy looking robots.
monster robot. Monster robots need to be a thing more.
Yeah,
that's super
I'm
creepy.
Really digging it. But yeah, so I'm hoping this does well. It's probably going to do great in China again. I mean, if they alone save the first movie, then the second movie is going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
And I am really looking forward to space battles.
Yeah.
Because we are getting that much closer to a Gundam film.
I'm you watch, what was it? Space Battleship Yamato, and it's basically the first series of Gundam minus the Gundam. I mean, it's white base flying through space.
It's Battlestar.
It's true.
Battlestar Galactica, but with aliens.
That is true, actually.
A Japanese ship.
Yeah.
Which is good. I really like Space Battleship Yamato.
Yeah, that was really good. I like that. Nine.
But Bandai had a say so.
Really?
There were a few buildings. Yeah. There's a bunch of Bandai product placement and
So maybe I don't know.
I'm thinking that's good for me because that means that we might be getting Pacific Rim Gunpla. So that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
But yeah, there's definitely 2 or 3 sequences where the sign on the building is just straight up Bandai. And then of course you get the Gundam.
Yeah.
And it doesn't draw a focus to it.
I'm surprised, yeah.
It's the camera pans and you see it, but there's never a hero shot where it's yo, look, a Gundam. It's just it's just oh, there's this robot statue in the background. And if you're a huge nerd like I am, you'll be like, "Here's that Gundam!" Get right in the middle of the theater.
Maybe we'll get a Jaeger that's not the RX-78, but just a little bit.
If they're flying around in space with jetpacks, I could go for a Wing Zero Jaeger.
Oh yeah, that would be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say it's not a flawless movie. In fact, there are some parts of it that I thought were just bad.
Yeah.
But it's a fun movie, and it's worth a watch.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I'll watch it again. I really liked it.
Yeah, definitely.
I thought it's a good follow-up, but it's not the follow-up I was expecting.
Yeah. It's really a different movie. That is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. But it's not. But at the same though, I know some friends who didn't like the first one who will probably like this one. So that's
good. It's a cool franchise. It's cool. It's new. It's fresh. It's neat seeing something. Well, okay, you could say it's like every anime ever, and that's true. But seeing that in an American film is fresh.
Like with that kind of budget.
With a budget like that, like we have not seen something like that, and I think it's kind of neat. I mean, Japan's been doing it since the 50s. Yeah. So for them, giants fighting giant monsters is that's like
Tuesday,
yeah. And in fact, it's probably like Monday, Wednesday, Friday there because of all the Kamen Rider.
I mean, there's like a game that's literally just all of those franchises in one where you're that game where you're
it's like a Shadow over Tokyo.
Yeah, where it's like Ultraman and Godzilla and all of these franchises that are because it's literally a genre there, kaiju. Yeah. But here it's obviously fresh. Yeah. And that kind of budget is not typically something that they see over there with that kind of movie.
No. So usually it's a guy in spandex fighting a dude in a giant rubber suit.
In a model city.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, sign me up. Like any opportunity I get to do that, stomp around in a small city while fighting a dude in a Godzilla fight in a suit, I would definitely do that.
Yeah, there's that brief time in the 90s where we actually had a lot of like the tokusatsu type shows re-spooled for us, like Power Rangers and Kamen Rider, which I think they called Ghost Rider here.
Maybe. I'm not sure. They tried that one. That one was harder because it spends so much time out of the...
Yeah. But that's a very unique thing that just doesn't catch on. So seeing something similar to that has been really cool. Yeah. And I'm hoping.
Yeah, I want my Space Jaegers. Yep. Also, I'm upset that nobody in that movie referred to their megaton bomb punch as a Jaeger bomb. Yeah. I'm a little upset about that. Get on that.
Get on that.
But
I don't think there's much more to say. I think we've actually gone pretty long. This is a long episode.
Yeah, I really like that movie.
Yeah, we had a lot to say.
I just talking about that movie. It's so good.
Man, I'm thinking maybe next week, unfortunately, is going to be another movie review.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll squeeze some news in there first.
We'll try to squeeze some news in. But we got Ready Player One coming out in 3 days. Comes out Wednesday.
That's about right, yeah.
So that's exciting. Yeah. It's a good week.
Yeah, it's a good week for movies. Yeah. And there's still some movies that I want to watch that I haven't gotten a chance to. Yeah. Because it's like I want to see Tomb Raider because I've heard that's actually a good movie. Mm-hmm. I still want to see Black Panther. Hadn't got to that yet. It's going to be at least another couple weeks in theaters, so hopefully I get out there.
There's a dollar theater not far from here, so maybe we can just...
Yeah, just one day, just be like, hey, after work, you want to go over there? Yeah, that's good.
But, so...
And I'll probably Redbox Spider-Man at some point since it's now in Redbox, which it wasn't for the longest time. Mm-hmm. I kept looking for it at Redbox, and it was never there. Not sold out, it just wasn't in the Redbox, which is weird, but no, it is, so that.
Cool. But, I think that's it.
Yeah. So let us know what you thought. This was kind of like a last-minute arrangement, so maybe have a better setup next time.
If we have a positive response, then we'll maybe get a legit table. Yeah. And maybe have a legit area that we film in. Yeah. But for now, hey, we're trying. Yeah. We're trying to expand. We're trying to do new things and cool things. So.
Yeah. Oh, and you gotta. Yeah, you're working on your GB boy or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. So I will be reviewing. Here it is.
Yeah, get that up here.
Yeah, so I picked up this. last week. It is the GB Boy Color, and it is a backlit Game Boy clone. And so I'll be doing a tech review on it and letting you know if it's worth your money or if I lost money. So it should be fun. So tune in.
All right. See you next time.
See ya.